Вот скажи мне, американец.
Скажи мне, американец.
В чем
В
сила?
чем сила?
У вас в Африке есть машины?
For me, I love Russian food.
Food here is really, really healthy.
Food? This is the worst thing in Russia.
Это шоу «Короче». Разговорное шоу, в котором мы в юмористическом ключе обсуждаем серьезные темы с людьми, чей реальный жизненный опыт отвечает этой теме. Все это для того, чтобы поделиться своими историями и посмотреть на вопрос со всех сторон. Короче, надо смотреть. В прошлом выпуске «Короче».
Это Сан-Франциско.
You're from LA. You're from Hollywood. What are you doing in Moscow?
Russians don't realize sometimes what they have.
С нами по-прежнему Жак, родом из Камеруна, но вырос и учился в Париже, во Франции. Тони, коренной американец. Джонатан, сальвадорец, но американец.
So, we'll continue with the juice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Delicious.
Lemonade. I heard that in America is very good medical care, healthcare, but it's very expensive compared to Russian.
Yeah, it's
to,
extremely
or
expensive.
to any medical
Any
care.
other place in the world. America has the most expensive healthcare system anywhere in the world.
I would say, specialists are really good. Especially doctors, they need to be good, right? You get the bad apples, but, they got to be good in every country. Turkey has amazing specialists. America has a bit, the problem is how easy it is to access them, right? So in America, it's really expensive to get those type of really good specialists. While in Russia, I think they're just there. Like in your case, they're just there. And it's for free. They're just waiting there because they need to be good. Now, an experience as a foreigner, me personally, I normally go to private clinics, not because the Travmpunkt, that's how they call it here, Travmpunkt, is bad, like kind of the ER, like they call it Travmpunkt here. It's just because it's hard because I'm a foreigner, so normally I don't have this free Medicare here, so I gotta go.
For me, if you will go to Travmpunkt, they will help you without any documents.
Yes and no. That always depends because technically, by law, you shouldn't go there if you're a foreigner and you don't have all the documentation that you need to have to go in there. Now, they're really nice and they will help you. They helped me. Like I got caught, open my hand, all this, and I went there and they were like, you're a foreigner, this is not the place for you because you don't have the documents to be here because I was on a tourist visa. But we'll help you, all right? They were really nice. They too, it's a really bit frightening because they were really serious. And these
They
nurse,
always serious.
Yeah, these
nurses,
nurses,
on a
They
mission.
always serious.
They're on a mission.
yeah, and I was really oh my God, kind of being a little bit of a pussy kind of thing. And I remember this nurse why are you crying? This is not painful. And I was like, no, I don't understand why Russians are so tough, damn it. It was And it was it's only 3 stitches. What are you talking about? Real story. And then they told me, look, you cannot come back. You gotta go to a private clinic to remove the stitches because we cannot provide you that service because you're not a citizen, you don't have the documents, blah, blah. But we'll do it for you because you need help now. That's the case how it works. Again, but that would be in any country. You're a foreigner, you don't get the service. Now, that being said, I go to private clinics like Medici or Mosque Clinic, and the service is outstanding. Doctors are great. They don't speak English, that's a problem. For foreigners that don't speak any Russian, it can get complicated. You can find the ones that speak English, but that's 1%. But the price I pay here compared to the price I'll pay in America is
10 times.
Well, it's universe. So I'll give you. I actually want to make a video about this because I got a few injuries in Russia. I played football, constantly and stuff like that. So lately, I got an issue with my lower back, and I got a herniated disc. Not a nice thing to have. And I went to Medici, which is normally the clinic I most of the time visited, and I pay $50 just for the consultation. And they said, okay, you need some, I was a little bit of, talking too much. So I say, give me an x-ray kind of thing. I didn't need that. But I say, okay, you get the x-ray, blah, 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 yada, yada. It cost me, so to get the x-ray, 3,000 rubles. They said, you need an MRI. An MRI in America is going to cost $5,000.
Yeah, man.
Especially from like, you know, your lower spine. You know how much I pay here? $40. Like 4,000
That's a
rubles.
deal right there.
But you tell that to a Russian.
It's better to take a flight, come to Russia, do it,
Well,
and go back.
and that's one thing
It's
I
still
wanted to
cheaper,
say.
you're right.
It's
It's still cheaper, yeah. That is
That's
still
one
cheaper,
thing
yeah, that's true.
I wanted to say, like, for Russians, if I say 4,000 for an MRI, they're like, that's too expensive.
Yeah.
Because you get it for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
That's a fact. So normally they always say, that's too expensive. But for me, this is nothing.
Разбаловали.
I don't get it.
Разбаловали.
Now, that's one thing I don't understand, because this happens in Turkey a lot. They have this medical care tourism, surgery tourism kind of thing. Why Russia doesn't have it? Because medical care here is so good and so cheap. Like, it's cheaper just to fly here, get anything you need to get done, and then go back to your country.
I know that many Russians who live in America, they come here,
Get your teeth.
Get your teeth, yeah.
and
To Russia?
come- yeah,
But
Yeah, because it's cheaper.
In Russia, it's still expensive. In Turkish.
Yeah, but it's still not
Nah,
expensive,
but he said
man.
in America, you know, when you talk about America, the prices there are outrageous.
I know that in America, the
Yeah,
price
I mean?
is
Yeah.
more than...
So,
So
I
from the
think-
medicine point of view, it's really good. The prices
Because
are really
now
good.
some Russian are flying to Thailand to do their teeth.
Yeah,
You know what?
wow, okay.
Well, they also have
And some
vacation.
are to Turkish to do their teeth. So when an American comes to Russia, it's just like, bro, you can do it any cheaper. Just fly to Thailand. Why Russia?
And that's also something really nice about, you know, medical care here is like, I see how, and I have seen it with my own eyes, how they improve their facilities all the time. Like they build new clinics all the
yeah,
time.
brand new, with
like,
brand
you
new
know,
equipment too.
Yeah, like I've been in a
and
really,
state-of-the-art equipment, not no cheap, like good
Yeah.
state-of-the-art equipment.
I've been
yeah?
in those clinics that they're
Did
really,
you see the new clinics?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
new
Yeah,
government clinics.
like
the Moscow,
absolutely,
they're-
yeah.
they're
Oh, those are
stunning.
nice.
First,
Yeah,
Bro,
they're lovely.
Like
if
for
you start
Paulina,
speaking
look,
about
like-
infrastructure,
like-
I said that Moscow.
For example, for Paulina and for the kid now, because now we live in this
the
other apartment.
new state clinics are better than the private
Yeah,
hospitals.
the state
Yeah.
clinics, the new ones are so good. This is say, like, and they
There's
and
a
everything.
cafe.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Dude, I was just there
If you
yesterday
speak
or
about
2 days ago.
Infrastructure.
And
I've seen a lot of cities in Europe. Moscow is the best for me now. Moscow is the
Everything
best.
is with an app, with technology. You know, so when I also want to go to the doctor, I just open because they tell you download the app. So you have your history. What is this prescriptions? What tests they made on you? Everything. So everything is absolutely there. It's insane. So you just look. Okay, which type of doctor you need? You want a doctor who speaks English? Then you can also search in the database. But everything is connected in a way that is so convenient. And then you go to the places, the new clinics. They're so good. All these things, at the end, what show you is how good the quality of living is here. Like they have a really high standard quality of living that you don't find anywhere else for those prices, for the economy.
And services.
Yeah. So that's when people ask me, why do you live in Russia? And I was like, because the quality of living is so high that you cannot even understand it. It's so good. It's so meant to work for you. Once again, from the public transportation to all this
To the
public
medical
service,
system.
to the medical
Are you
service.
agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with this on that part. Yeah.
To even
When
the
it comes to
point-
public medical system, it's lovely out here.
To even the point that how to enjoy the city. Like all the activities that the city always have, so people go and even during winter time, how there are spaces for kids, like they're everywhere. Everywhere a kid.
Now that you just mentioned that, I work with a lot of foreigners, right? One of the dudes that I work with just moved here in January, so it's his first year here, right? The first thing he tells me, hey, John, you won't believe, I'm walking out, I hop on the bus, and you know what I see? I see kids, I see teens walking on the street, hopping on the bus by themselves. That's something you don't see in America no more. You
Why?
don't see
Sure.
it's too dangerous.
Yeah, you
It's
don't
too
leave kids
dangerous.
alone. Yeah.
Back in the days when I was like a teen or when I was young, it was good. But now I won't let my kid go to school or to the store or anywhere by themselves.
You know
in
what is
America.
funny?
Yeah? And here it's very common.
In the
And-
Western world, they are trying to make children more adult giving them the possibility to choose something like the gender or some other thing, but they can leave them this independence to do some little shit like take the bus.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, man. There's
When
a lot
I
of
was
things
young,
that
I
don't
was
make sense
going
nowadays.
in
Yeah.
Africa. Okay, maybe this Africa. I was going to school with my friend. I have something like 7 years. We was walking something like 1 kilometer together, just enjoying and going back home the same. Our parents didn't even once. Nobody comes to school to pick me. I was just going by myself with my friend, going.
The same thing,
The same.
but in Krasnodar, in the south of Russia, I was going to the school from 6 years by myself. It's like 2 kilometers from home. Everything was good. Yeah.
It was normal.
Yeah, it's normal. It's very common.
Nobody will catch you. Nobody will kidnap you. Nobody. But now, you can even think about that. We grow up like this, and now we are trying to teach our children some others. Just because somewhere in another town, one maniac kidnapped a kid, so now all the kids everywhere will start. No, bro. So I think that maybe this thing is shitty. We have to think about that.
What's about food? Tell
Food,
me.
this is the worst thing in Russia.
Get out of here.
This is the worst. I will tell you why. I will tell you why.
don't agree with that.
Look.
Yeah,
Let me
go
explain.
ahead.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
In Russia, in Moscow, you have this thing. Короче, тут есть возможность, да, открыться миру и принять другие кухни. И вот за счет этого Москва и живет. Потому что если убрать все, что привезли откуда-то, оставить только щи, борщ и вот этот, который из Украины, сало, блин, мы помрем все тут с голода. Тут ничего нет.
No, that's not
Салатики,
true.
будем что есть.
I
Я
don't
с тобой
agree.
вообще не соглашусь.
Сейчас, подождите. Рыбу, дорадо, это национальное блюдо. Нет, я сейчас говорю о русских.
Я тебе сейчас расскажу, сколько блюд русских. Ты,
Сколько?
скорее всего, огромное количество не пробовал.
Шинец.
Подожди, давай поехали. Сейчас мы тебе начнем.
Давай. Добей меня.
Let me explain to him.
Давай.
Tell him.
Пироги.
Пироги.
Любые пироги.
Вот
Раз.
пироги я тебе скажу так.
Подожди.
Скажи мне специально, то есть то, что прям русские дали этому миру. Не то, что русские взяли откуда-то.
Пирожки.
Нет.
Курник.
Курник?
Здравствуйте.
Что за курник?
Голубцы. Курник. Вот мне подсказывать сейчас будет жена.
Голубцы
Драники, Белоруссия. Но это вообще СССР, Россия.
русские, пожалуйста.
Нет, подожди, это все относится к славянским.
Одинаковая страна.
Может быть, я тоже тут не прав, потому что если взять Россию в плане федерации, да, тогда ладно, я молчу.
Колоссальное количество
Тогда
блюд.
ладно, я молчу, потому что с юга много чего.
Russian cuisine is very different, like the whole Russia. It's
Yeah,
very
but that's
different.
Russia. Russia is a big melt of different cultures.
Here in Moscow, there's a lot of cuisines from all over the
All over the world.
Yeah,
All over the
yeah.
world here.
And I heard opinion. I just heard it that the most of cuisines here are tastier than in
It is true. So in some stuff,
in
they are
native
true.
countries from these cuisines. Is it true or not?
For a few things.
We can explain that.
It's up to
Yeah, it depends
It's
of your
very
taste.
easy to
depends.
explain adaptation. I explain. When you are trying mayonnaise in Mexico, it's not same the taste
Yeah.
like mayonnaise in France or in Russia. You know why? Because adaptation. Somewhere they like more garlic, somewhere they like more pepper, and somewhere they like more. So in Russia they are trying to making the
Combine.
Russification
Yeah, true.
of that
But
food. Maybe.
Here's a really, I don't know, a take that I have about food in Russia in general. Yeah, there's a lot of Russia, a lot of cuisine from different countries, especially from all these, southern countries like Georgia, Armenia. Like that's a really, big cuisine, which I love Georgian food. I think for me that's the best food in the
The
world.
southern
Very
food,
tasteful,
bro. The southern
yeah.
food is
Yeah,
the best.
it's absolutely. But one thing that makes food really tasty here, first of all, women cook amazingly here. Like women are such a good. Yeah, in Russia they are good.
You say women?
They're good cook. Like honestly, absolutely.
They're surprised.
Really? No, it is. They know how to cook
Yeah, they
here.
do, they
But it also comes to the products like they use. I feel like Russia has this good thing that a lot of products they use are like, you know, naturals. They're like babushka style, like, you know, like the butter or like the mayonnaise or the smetana. All these type of things, you can still get all these homemade type of thing everywhere. Like in other countries, like in America or in Europe, everything is already, you know, pre-made and pre-stuff. So it's not really, unless you cook it at home. But everything you get in store have all these conservants and you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Here is not the case. So that might be the reason it could feel that it stays here. I think, for example, Turkish food. I just came back from Turkey. And I can tell you Turkish food here, I feel is better than Turkish food in Turkey. I got a lot of issues with food over there. I found it here, I don't know, tastier, easier to...
Maybe it depends on the place where you try.
Yeah,
Also true.
It depends
but
on.
I'll give you a case. Yeah, like for me, Georgian food, best in Georgia.
But Georgian food, great. Many times I taste Turkish food in Istanbul, and there are some very great places there you can
That's, yeah.
You know
again,
what?
eat
It's like-
delicious food. Yeah.
It's like what Jack said. It depends where you try it, right?
Yeah,
Because I have a lot of friends who don't like Russian food. For me, I love Russian food.
I love
you
Russian
know?
food.
But for me, because when I first came here, where I first tried it was at my mother-in-law's house, my wife's mom's house.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, and then there, you know, they cook it with love, and they cook it. You know, they really made it delicious. So every day she had like a mission to cook me different Russian food every day.
No,
Yeah,
I understand.
And she
you,
lived
bro.
like two blocks,
Like
two blocks.
American-
So she lived like 2 blocks away from where we live.
Yeah.
So then it was like, she made me fall in love with the Russian food because all the Russian food I was first getting here was all homemade.
Yeah, homemade. That's great.
And it was
Yeah,
homemade.
but
That's
that's
the
the real
Yeah.
Russian food.
But then when you go to like restaurants,
Yeah.
it wasn't the same taste. I wanted to feel that mother-in-law taste
Yeah.
to the Russian food, you know what I mean? But then when it comes to like, me, I love, I'm from LA. In LA, we got a lot of Latino restaurants out there
yeah.
from different countries. You know, so here in Moscow, there's a lot of them too. You know? And I've also been to a lot of Latin American countries. I traveled to many countries there myself. You know? But here they got a lot of restaurants where it's more made for like the Russian taste, for the Russian taste
Russification
clientele.
of.
You know what I mean?
It's normal.
It's not
It's
made
normal.
Yeah, but
for
that's-
like the Latino clientele and the Latino taste to it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like the food itself is not the same. Me personally think.
I understand,
mean,
yeah.
That's just me. But then when it comes to like you know, Latino food, it's not the same. Russian food, it's delicious. Chinese food, oh man, Chinese got like really authentic Chinese restaurants out here too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? They're really
lot of-
delicious.
a lot of-
Yeah.
And the place where you
And-
cook himself, like they give you some ingredients.
yeah,
You
yeah.
put you cook it himself.
Yeah,
Or you,
and they
you
have, like-
by yourself. It's like it's always.
The one I go to, they got like the spinning table that spins
Yeah,
around and you can
yeah,
pick
no,
all
that
the
one.
food you want, you know?
Oh,
Yeah, it's delicious, man.
the
But
Japanese food.
one of the things that I really love about the difference
roll.
between food here in Russia and back home in America, right, is the fact that here the food is very healthy and natural.
Yeah.
Because in America we get a lot of chemicals in our food.
Yeah.
You know, and those chemicals are getting people sick.
bro, these
And
chemicals.
these
chemicals are coming
it's
to Moscow
here-
more and more.
No. Here it's prohibited.
Never
No. Here
It's
try.
prohibited.
It's prohibited.
It's
It's
against,
less than-
it's against the
maybe
law.
it's
No,
le-
it's against the law here.
No, here is against
Yeah,
the law.
it's
So
against the
that's,
law here.
That's what I just
So you
said.
don't have.
No.
Yeah,
If there's one
GMO,
trace of
yeah,
chemical,
GMO,
they get put out of business.
Половина того, что разрешено в Америке, здесь запрещено,
Нет,
если они-
половина. Я не говорю, что на уровне Америки. Но
So
я говорю, что
everything's
просто
natural,
когда я
yeah?
иду, например, в Ашан,
Delicious, healthy.
покупать какие-то продукты,
Давай так, Ашан это все равно
Ашан.
это дешевые продукты. При всем уважении к Ашану,
Ашан, пятерочка.
это все такие
ну,
продукты.
перекресток. Нормально?
Ну тоже.
Okay, no,
Перекресток?
but wait.
Там есть зеленый перекресток на уровне азбуки вкуса.
One of the things that you not understand about our food industry is how treated and how many chemicals it has. Like it's just over the top. There are things in our food back in America that they don't have it in the same product. They don't have it in Europe, as an example, because all those chemicals and all those pieces and parts are forbidden, are illegal. That's the difference. So that's what we're talking about. You might think, yeah, back in Africa is different. In Europe, food is still good, but
No, you know that in Europe they have two markets.
okay, but for us is beyond like what you actually know. So when we
I've
said
never been there, and
so when we said
I
here
hope I will never.
it's natural, which is my point before, that you guys still lucky that it's still a lot of farming and a lot of things are natural. You can still get all these babushka homemade things.
And it's against the law to add chemicals to it.
So it's because for us that's already the norm. All these chemicals that make you cancer, blah, 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 yada, 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 that you don't have it here. So food here is really, really healthy.
And natural.
Compared to the
to
food in
of
America.
course, 100%.
Even compared to Europe, Europe has good food, again, because they have good regulations about it. But I still, like, in Russia...
Less chemicals, but they still have some.
But Russia is even more natural than over that. So that's the point that he's trying to make, which is the same point I was trying to make, is for us, the food here is even at a Chan is because
It's better.
The law is better when it comes
By
about
law,
this thing.
there's no chemicals in my beef. In my chicken,
exactly.
you know
No
what I mean?
GMO, no none of these things. It's just absolutely different. It works way better than for us. Again, this is a specific comparison to America. As I said, Europe is much better, but I think here you still get all these natural things that you start losing over there, right?
We skip one topic when we were speaking about how people are talking to you, how people are considering you. You are
How
from
people?
USA. When people talking with you,
React. How people react.
How people are reacting.
No,
When you speak with it. Тут есть совсем другое отношение, когда люди говорят с человеком, который они на каком-то уровне чувствуют какое-то, скажу так, какое-то преимущество в плане, что их страна чуть выше по уровню жизни. Когда русский человек, например, идет к американцу, он начинает общаться с ним, говорит: ты что тут потерял, брат? Мы все хотим к тебе, а ты приехал к нам. А вот когда он идет ко мне, тут совсем другой. Когда я говорю, что я из Камеруна, у меня...
Они такие: молодец,
Я
хорошо, что
встретил
добрался.
самые тупые вопросы в мире. Даже один из них мне спросил: а как ты добрался до России? Я сказал: я пешком шел долго. Я не знаю. И другой мне говорит: а у вас там дома есть? То есть вот есть еще такие вопросы. То есть ты видишь этот стереотип, который есть у некоторых стран к России. Русские тут тоже его вырабатывают по отношению к другим странам. Это просто, что происходит, это СМИ. То, как показывают страны, так люди будут их воспринимать. Я даже помню люди, которые были удивлены, что там, они увидели фотографии, где там машины, У вас в Африке есть машины?
Для них вообще...
Yeah, question is so different. I'm sure, like, if I tell people, look, I'm playing Colombian, people will be like, well, that's interesting. Like, I'm sure they don't know a lot of Colombians, but how'd you ended up coming here? Like you're a Latino.
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, exactly. Those are. They will go to stereotypes. Pablo Escobar.
también no quieren mexicanos.
Do you know some coke? Have you tried? You bring that.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Exactly. So it will come to those stereotypes. So
it's the same, as a Salvadorian growing up in LA, I've had to face lots of stereotypes.
Yeah.
And then not just in LA, everywhere in the world, even here in Moscow.
Yeah. So that's the reason the question is always going to be different, because they see America or Europe as a dreamland that they can go, but they don't see Africa as a dreamland.
Yeah.
They see Africa like you were escaping from there. Somehow, not true or true.
Safari land.
Yeah. So you were escaping from there. How you managed to come here? Because that's what you talk about France, for example. That's what Europe is selling all the time. All these immigrants from Africa coming here, they're crazy, coming in boats. Like they portray that. The people just get it in their mind. You don't really sell that
This is
shit.
the first part. And the second part, do you know how a lot of Russian consider African boys sex toys? Like, you are an African guy, that's mean that you have something big and long. So, bro, how do you live with that shit? It's
true.
It's common in everywhere, every single time. Even when I'm
But you
speaking
guys are lucky.
with a
I
Russian
wish
girl,
they see me like a.
everybody started looking at her like, can you handle it? So, every time it's the same thing.
But that's cool.
It's
I wish
cool.
we could have that.
It's cool. It's cool. But, when you face it first time, it's like, oh, thank you. But when it's common and every single time you have to face the same situation, sometimes you just prefer to, guys, please.
You just need
Can
to
we
show
try-
it.
Yeah,
to
just
them.
like
That's my bye-bye.
Here it
I did
is.
it once when I was speaking with my friend and one girl. She was drunk a little bit. She come and tell me, "Okay, you are from Africa, yeah? Uh-huh. What are you doing in Russia?" I said, "I'm just living here." "Why are you living here?" "So first of all, you know that I'm from FSB." I say, "Okay,
Good for you.
It's good for you. Show me your document." I said, "Okay, you want to show my document? Let me show you my document." I started doing that. The guy said, "Oh, stop." And the guy, she was drunk, I thought. So at this time, she just looked at me like, "You are mad," and she leave.
Is your document with photo on there?
No, she started doing some bad jokes.
Yeah.
So my response, I answer to these bad jokes with a bad joke. So I was unzipping my pants to show her my document. Like, you want to get my document, so take it.
So guys, I have the last few questions. Just blitz, just short answer.
Right.
Your favorite Russian food?
Favorite Russian food? Пельмени.
Пельмени. Your?
Oh, favorite. It's a tough choice, In the summer, I like a kroshka.
He don't like it.
Oh yeah,
He didn't.
I love kroshka.
That, in my opinion, is one of the best food.
Soup, especially in the summer when it's really hot. I like it. I like cold kroshka.
Cold. It must be cold. Yeah.
Some like it with kvass. I like it with kefir.
Big war between those who like kroshka
I
and
know
kvass.
that.
And
Yeah. There's a
Right.
big debate, a big dispute between the kvass and the kefir lovers, right?
Окрошка, пельмени, Жак.
Скажи, что я ненавижу меньше всего, вот тогда я
Что ты
отвечу.
ненавидишь?
Я вчера ел борщ в одном ресторане на метро. Трубное, вот. Прям входишь в метро и налево, там есть какой-то ресторан, вот такой классный. У них борщ отменный. Вот вчера я съел борщ и сказал себе,
Мы
было
тебя-
бы все вот так.
Congrats.
Да, вообще,
Мы тебя
там
поздравляем.
хлопаю. Стоя. Вот это было великолепно.
And the last question for our American friends.
Yeah.
It's a question from one of my favorite Russian movies. В чем сила,
Брат.
брат? Вот скажи мне, американец,
Скажи мне, американец.
В чем
в
сила?
чем сила?
Деньги? Я деньги не, это правда.
Я вот думаю, что правда.
Это правда.
В чем сила? Как ты думаешь, Джонатан?
Money talks, bullshit walks.
That's an American
Yeah,
answer,
that's what
see?
we say. Money talks, bullshit
Yeah.
walks.
I
But
know-
you know this movie, right? Like Brat.
No, I haven't seen that one. I haven't
Okay,
seen that one.
so this is a scene that he just
There's
had.
the line from that movie,
Yeah, he's like, where do you think power lies?
And I think the power
In the
is
money
in the truth.
or in the truth? Because he's asking an American guy
Yeah.
that is kind of a mafia guy and
Yeah.
do everything with money. So he's like, no, it's in truth. That's the Russian
That's
thing. They always have the truth in their back.
Popular Russian line. Мне бы не простили, если бы я вас не спросил. Поэтому в чем
Отлично,
сила?
это
Скажи мне,
очень нравится.
американец. Да. Большое спасибо нашим гостям. So I'll thank all of my guests today. Tony, Jonathan, Jack, thank you
Thank
so
you
for
much
having us.
for being here, for answering my questions, for discuss some topics. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll see you. See you around.
Всем
having us.
спасибо. Давайте поаплодируем. Всего хорошего. Мы на этом заканчиваем.